one-pot meals are perfect when you don't want to spend hours in the kitchen while still wanting leftovers for the week. But the hard part is finding recipes that are actually simple and still taste great. Thankfully, I have 3 tested and easy one-pot meals for you that taste amazing and they're ready in under 25 minutes. First one up is our Lemon Butter Chicken Orzo, and it may sound fancy, but it takes little to no effort to make. First thing we're gonna do is grab our chicken. I have about 1.5 pounds or 6 pieces of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And to prep them, I'm gonna hit them with salt and all-purpose seasoning on both sides of them. You could use whatever all-purpose seasoning you prefer, but if you wanna make yours at home, I'll link mine in the description down below. I'm gonna now grab our one-pot pot, setting it to medium-high heat, and I'm gonna squeeze in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm gonna sear our chicken thighs on one side for 2 minutes, and I'm gonna flip and sear the other side for 1 minute. And you can see here, we already have some nice, beautiful color on them. Now I had to sear this chicken in batches, and I'm gonna throw them on a sheet pan so I could throw them in an oven that's set to 400 degrees convection bake for about 8 to 10 minutes. And I already know I'm messing up because this is supposed to be a one-pot dish, not a one-pot and oven dish, but using the oven makes the cooking process so much faster. You could cook it all in the one pot. You don't have to use the oven. The only reason I'm using the oven is because it's faster, and I still have to make 2 more one-pot recipes after this. About 8 minutes later, I'm gonna pull the chicken out of the oven, and I'm gonna check the temperature, and it's registering a perfect 185 degrees, which is ideal for dark meat. Now I'm gonna set this chicken to the side, and back to our pot, we're gonna squeeze in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna now sear some slices of lemon, which to slice, you just run your knife through it normally, and then we're just gonna sear one side of it for about 1 minute to 1.5 minutes. Now I'll admit this step is 100% optional, but it adds a nice little toasty, lemony flavor to the final dish. And you could be doing this while the chicken is in the oven. There's a method to my madness, I promise you. Once the limes are nicely seared, we're gonna now throw in 1 white onion, which to chop, I cut off the tip and the root, and I split it in half, followed by peeling off the outside layers. I then gave it vertical cuts along the side of the onion, and then I just ran my knife through it, giving us a nice fine dice. I'm also going to hit our onions with a pinch of salt and give it a nice mixing to saute them just for a couple minutes. Once the onions have softened, we're now going to throw in 2 cups of our dried orzo pasta, which orzo pasta, if you've never used before, looks and kind of feels exactly like dry rice. And we'll be cooking it very similarly as well, but first we're going to toast it for 2 minutes, or really less if you're impatient. Oh, and don't be afraid to add more olive oil in if it's looking a little dry. After it's been nicely toasted, we're gonna throw in 6 cloves of crushed garlic, which to crush, I just use my garlic crusher to save up time and make it less messy. Now I'm gonna mix that garlic and let it bloom for only 30 seconds anymore, and it kind of ruins the flavor of it. I'm gonna now pour in 4 cups worth of chicken stock, making sure to give it a good thorough mixing, and then I'm gonna set it to high heat. Once it reaches a boil, I'm gonna lower the heat to a simmer and put a lid on it, letting it simmer for 8 minutes. At the end of our 8 minutes, I'm gonna lift up the lid and see our beautiful orzo pasta has been absorbing all those flavors. I'm gonna now throw in 1 cup of Grana Padano cheese. It's very similar to Parmesan cheese, and it's actually a little cheaper than Parm, and I freshly grated it myself because that makes a world's difference. Once our cheese is fully mixed in and incorporated, I'm gonna now cut the heat and throw in 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I'm gonna mix it until all of our butter has melted and emulsified into our pasta. I'm then gonna grab 2 large handfuls of baby spinach, throwing it in there and giving it a mix. There should be enough residual heat in the pan to wilt the spinach down, and you'd be surprised how much a big handful of spinach could shrink down once it's wilted. We'll now be seasoning this with salt to taste, so add a pinch at a time until it's seasoned to your liking. I probably put around 1 to 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. I'm gonna now hit this with some freshly grated Grana Padano cheese, nuzzle in our chicken thighs as well as our toasted lemon wedges, and now this is your Lemon Butter Chicken Orzo Pasta one-pot meal. It's got beautifully cooked, juicy chicken thighs and insane orzo pasta that has a nicely emulsified butter and cheese sauce. Taste-wise, this thing will absolutely shock you. Every single one of your taste buds will be thanking you, and this was done in in around 20 to 25 minutes. Next, we're making a homemade hamburger helper that has the same comfort food energy as the box, but is 10 times better. First thing we're gonna do is our chopping work. So we're gonna grab 1 white onion and we're gonna chop this a little differently. We're gonna chop the tip off plus the root and we're gonna split it in half. I'll peel off the outside layer and now I'm gonna do vertical cuts along the side of the onion. From here, I'm gonna run my knife normally and you should have a nice little diced onion. After that, we're gonna grab 1 poblano pepper and we're gonna cut the root off and then pull out all those inside seeds and whatnot. I'll then split the poblano in half, cut it into nice long planks, and then run my knife through it, giving us a nice rough dice. If you like a little heat, I would suggest replacing it with 3 jalapenos, but if you don't like that, no worries, just do the poblano, nice and non-spicy. Lastly, we're gonna grab 8 ounces of medium cheddar cheese, and all we're gonna do is just grate it with our cheese grater, and that's it for all the prep work. We're gonna grab our 1 pot, setting it to medium-high heat, and then we're gonna throw in 1 tablespoon of olive oil, as well as our diced white onion and poblano pepper. Hit it with a generous pinch of salt, and we're gonna saute these guys for just a few minutes. Once everything is translucent and softened, we're gonna pour our veggies into a bowl. We're gonna hit our pot with some more olive oil, and then we're gonna throw in half a pound of ground beef, as well as half a pound of ground pork. And I know it's supposed to be only ground beef, but I feel like whenever there's pasta and cheese involved, a little bit of ground pork just pairs so well with it. So the ground pork is optional. You can just double down and do a pound of ground beef. Now we're gonna let this sear for 1 to 2 minutes, and then we're gonna hit it with a sprinkling of salt, and we're gonna smash it down and break it down into nice crumbly bits of meat. Once everything is cooked and broken down into small little pieces and all the meat juices have evaporated, we're gonna now throw in our onions and poblano peppers back into the pot, along with 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and 2 tablespoons of all-purpose seasoning. Again, if you wanna use my recipe, it's linked in the description below. I'm gonna give it a mixing and we're gonna saute it for only 30 more seconds so all of our seasoning could bloom and we could toast off some of the acidity of the tomato paste. After about 30 seconds, we're gonna next throw in 2 cups of beef stock and then 1 can of evaporated milk. I'm gonna give it a quick mixing and then I'm gonna pour in 16 ounces of medium shell pasta. Give it a good mixing and then we're gonna bring the heat up to high, and once it hits a boil, we're gonna reduce it to a simmer. We're gonna follow the packet instructions on our pasta and simmer this for 15 minutes with a lid on. 15 minutes later, I'm gonna remove the lid and all the liquid and juices have now been absorbed into our pasta. While it's still hot, I'm gonna throw in all of our medium cheddar cheese and mix it in there, letting it fully melt. And this is your 1-pot Hamburger Helper pasta meal, filled with perfectly seasoned beef, pasta that's absorbed a ton of flavor, and nice cheddar cheese to round everything out. Taste-wise, it was absolutely phenomenal. Plus, we only used 1 pot and it only took around 20 to 25 minutes to make. Lastly, we have a chicken pad thai, which tastes like takeout, except it costs half the price and it could be easily reheated during the week. But first, this video took days worth of work to put together, so if you're liking it and you want to support, I would greatly appreciate it if you could please hit the like and subscribe button. First thing we're gonna do is grab our pot and fill it up with enough water so that we could easily boil our rice noodles. I did about 4 cups. Set that to high heat, and in the meantime, we're gonna do all of our chopping work. I'm gonna grab 1 red bell pepper and I'm gonna chop off the tip, and then I'm gonna pull out the seeds, splitting it in half and ripping out all those fleshy white parts. I'm then gonna pull out the root from the top, and then I'm gonna press my knife down flat, cutting it, giving us long planks. If the planks are too long, I'll cut them in half, but I want them to be long strands here. Oh, and don't forget to cut the tip too. That's good red bell pepper. I'm next gonna grab 3 to 4 green onions. I'm gonna split them down the middle when the whites and the greens kind of meet. I'm then also gonna cut off the tips of those green onions as well, and then I'm gonna run my knife and chop all those whites of the green onions. The greens will chop as well, but they're gonna be used as a finishing topping. The next thing we're gonna cut is about a little less than 1.5 pounds worth of chicken breasts. I'm gonna be giving it some decently thin slices along the whole breast. Take your time with it, and you don't want it to be too thick because then it will take a little longer to cook in the pan. Once all your chicken is chopped, we're gonna throw it into a bowl along with 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of toasted sesame oil, and half a teaspoon of baking soda. The baking soda is gonna tenderize and velvet this chicken, giving us a better, juicier piece that's not dried out when we cook it. I'm gonna give the chicken a good mixing by hand, making sure to spread all those ingredients evenly throughout it. And now this is our marinated chicken, which I'm gonna set to the side because now we gotta check on our pot of boiling water. The water has now started to boil. We're gonna throw in our rice noodles, which these are just regular stir-fry noodles. I try to go for a medium size here. I'm gonna give the noodles a good mixing, and we're only gonna cook them for 4 to 6 minutes until they've softened, but they're not mushy. 5 minutes later, I'm gonna drain our noodles out into a strainer, and I'm gonna hit it with cold water to completely stop the cooking process. Once the noodles have fully cooled, I'm gonna set them to the side, and now we're gonna go back to our pot. We're gonna set it on a burner to medium-high heat, and then we're gonna throw in about 1 to 2 tablespoons of our olive oil, followed by all of our red bell peppers. Hit it with a sprinkling of salt, and we're gonna now saute these guys for a couple minutes until they've softened. Once they've softened, I'm gonna now throw in the whites of our green onions and saute them just for about 30 more seconds, and then I'm gonna pour our veggies into a bowl, setting them to the side. I'm gonna now crack 3 eggs into a container, hitting it with a pinch of salt and then whisking those eggs together. I'm gonna hit our pot with some more olive oil, and then I'm gonna throw our eggs in there, making sure to mix it very vigorously so that way everything gets broken apart when the egg starts to cook. Once the eggs are fully cooked, which will only take just a few seconds, we're gonna now pour those eggs on top of our cooked veggies. I'm gonna hit the pot again with some more olive oil, and then we're gonna throw down all of our velveted chicken. Now we're gonna cook this chicken with some pretty high heat, and if the pan dries out at all, then don't be scared to add more oil. That's totally fine. I also noticed as I was cooking them, I might have cut them a little too big, so I started cutting them down to smaller pieces with some scissors. Either way though, after just a few minutes, our chicken is now fully cooked and has some beautiful, nice color to them. I'm gonna throw down our eggs and bell peppers, giving it a nice mixing, and then I'm gonna throw down all of our rice noodles as well. I'm also gonna pour in our pad thai sauce, which to make in a small container, you're gonna throw in 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of lime juice, which is about 1 whole lime, 1 tablespoon of fish sauce, which if you don't have, just sub in more soy sauce, but it is quite pungent, and 1 tablespoon of sriracha. Give that a good little mixing, and that is your pad thai sauce. Also, if you like a really saucy pad thai, you might want to double these ingredients. Back to our pot, I'm gonna mix in our pad thai sauce with our chicken and our noodles and our veggies. Once everything has been fully mixed and reheated, throw down your toppings, and now you have a 1-pot pad thai that has perfectly cooked velveted chicken, some noodles paired with the delicious pad thai sauce, and all the fixings that any normal pad thai needs. Taste-wise, this thing is absolutely insane, and the time it takes to put it together is really around 20 minutes. If you like to eat healthier this year, check out my 5 easy healthy recipes video. Thank you so much for watching, and please hit the like and subscribe button.